If you have been watching this series, you've done a lot of work in the last few videos. We covered the phones, First Chair AI answering calls at 11 p.m. on a Sunday when you're not there. We covered content, Counsel Twin AI putting your face, your expertise in front of the right people without you standing in front of a camera every week or writing another blog article. And we covered the website, Sidebar AI, having real conversations with visitors who were not ready to call, but were not ready to leave either. That is a serious system. And if you're just finding this series now, welcome. I'm Mark Apple. I run Forward Push Law Firm Marketing, and we work exclusively with law firms. And this video is part of an ongoing series on building a marketing engine that actually works for attorneys. Each video covers one piece of the system, and it might be the most important one right now because there's still a gap. The gap after a potential new client leaves your website without converting. And it's probably the most expensive gap most attorneys do not even know they have. Here's what most lawyers believe happens when someone visits their website and doesn't call. They believe that person moved on, chose another law firm. They weren't really that serious. That's not what's happening. Legal decisions, real ones, the kind that bring someone to a law firm website, do not happen in a single visit. They never have. Someone gets served with divorce papers at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. They go to your website, they read your bio, they look at your practice areas, they close the tab. Not because you were not the right fit, because they weren't ready yet. They're still processing what just happened to their life. They're going to spend the next 7 to 30 days reading, researching, comparing, asking people they trust, and quietly building up enough certainty to actually pick up the phone. That's the decision window. And during that entire window, whether it's 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, most law firms go completely dark. The prospect visited once, got nothing after, and over the next 2 weeks, they saw content from 3 other firms. They remembered one name that kept showing up, and they called that firm on day 19. You didn't lose that lead because someone else was better. You did not lose it because your website was not good enough. You lost it because you went dark at exactly the wrong moment. The moment right after contact is the most valuable window in the entire client acquisition process. It's when they're actively researching, actively comparing, actively building trust with whoever stays visible. And most law firms spend $0 and 0 effort on that window. They'll spend money on driving traffic to their website, they'll spend money on the website itself, and then they let the prospect walk away and never think about them again. That is the gap. And it's costing you cases you never even knew you were losing. This is what Engage First solves. Engage First is the retargeting layer inside Case Gravity. That's the full marketing system we've been building across this series. And I want to be precise about what it does because this is not what most attorneys think of when they hear the word retargeting. Yeah, retargeting has a bad reputation. I bet you've seen it. You buy a pair of running shoes, and for the next 6 weeks, you see the exact pair of shoes on every website you visit. Banner ads, promotional ads, ads that feel like they're following you. That is not this. When someone visits your website, Engage First tracks that visit and deploys your firm's existing content, your articles, your videos, your authoritative positioning across the digital channels where that prospect is spending their time during the research window. It's their social feeds, their search results, the editorial sites they read between now and when they make that decision. Not promotional ads, not call us today banners, real content, the same tone your website established, informational, credible, authoritative. So when that prospect is sitting at their kitchen table on day 11, still trying to figure out what their options are, they see a piece of content from your firm that answers exactly the question they're asking right now. They don't think that firm is advertising at me. They think that firm keeps showing up with useful information. That is a completely different psychological experience. One feels like pressure, the other builds trust. And trust is what converts a warm prospect into a consultation. The content Engage First deploys is not new content you're creating from scratch. It's what your firm already has. The articles on your website, the videos from Counsel Twin AI, the authoritative positioning you've already established. So we're not asking you to create a new marketing asset. We're making sure the assets you already have keep working after the first visit ends. You stay present, you stay authoritative, you stay visible during the 7 to 30 days when the decision is actually being made. When the prospect is ready to call, the firm they remember is the one that was there throughout their entire process. That has to be your firm. So let me make this concrete. You're already paying to drive traffic to your website, whether that's through SEO, paid search, referrals, or the content system we built in the earlier videos. People are landing on your website. Some of them are going to call. Most of them do not because they're not interested, because they're not ready yet. Right now, every one of those visitors who leaves without calling is a sunk cost. You paid to get them there, you got nothing back. Engage First changes the math on that traffic. The visitors who leave without converting do not disappear. They enter a nurture window where your firm stays visible, stays credible, and stays on the short list. And when they are ready, whether that's day 7, day 14, day 22, they call you. Not because you ran a flashy ad, because you were the firm that was present and authoritative throughout their entire research process. And when you combined Engage First with everything else we built in this series, First Chair handling calls, Counsel Twin AI producing content, Sidebar AI capturing visitors on the site, you have a complete loop. Nothing falls through. Every prospect who finds you gets followed up with, answered, nurtured, and converted at the right moment. That is case gravity. And Engage First is the piece that closes it. Now, Forward Push is not a general marketing agency that takes law firm clients. We work exclusively with law firms. We've been named to the Inc. 5000 list, and I've written 2 #1 Amazon best-selling books on legal marketing. Everything in the case gravity system exists because I watched law firms lose business to gaps that were completely fixable, and I built the tools to fix them. Here's what I want you to do next. Book a 12-minute call with me directly. Not a pitch deck, not a sales team you've never heard of, not a 45-minute discovery call that's really a very long close. 12 minutes, 2 billing units. A real conversation about your firm's marketing, where the gaps are, what's working, what's not, and whether any of what I've shown you in this series makes sense for your practice. Yes, you caught me. I picked 12 minutes intentionally. You bill in 6-minute increments, and I know what your time is worth. I'm not going to waste it. So if after 12 minutes, you don't think there's anything here for you, we shake hands and move on. No pressure, no follow-up sequence designed to wear you down. But if there is something here, if you are looking at your marketing and recognizing the gaps we have talked about across this entire series, then we talk about what that looks like for your specific firm. The link to book is below this video. And if you've been following along, you now understand exactly how the case gravity system works. You know what each piece does. You know where the gaps are. You know what it looks like when those gaps get closed. The only question left is whether you want to close them for your law firm right now. The 12-minute call is how we find out. I look forward to seeing you there.